The New York Post is very simple. It says, vote to save our state, vote for Lee Zeldin. And it just so happens that Lee Zeldin is joining us via the remote technology today. Congressman, good morning to you.
It's great to be with you.
Of course, one of your key foundational arguments is that crime is a real problem here in New York, and we know that. But your opponent, the current governor, Kathy Hochul, yesterday said you are just hyperventilating. Watch this.
He has been hyperventilating, trying to scare people for months. And New Yorkers are onto it. All the legitimate media organizations have called him out for what he is doing, fear-mongering. And it's not just here in New York. That has been the Republican playbook all across this country. All you need to know is that the Democratic states are safer than the Republican states. Check out the facts.
Well, of course, we know a lot of people on the streets of New York City who would disagree with her, but is that what you're doing? You're just trying to scare people to vote for you?
You know, as she's making those remarks, over the course of about 24 hours, there were 6 subway attacks. So as the governor of the state of New York, what you're supposed to do is say that you understand what is happening and that you're focused on doing absolutely everything in your power to roll back pro-criminal laws like cashless bail, to fire weak district attorneys like Alvin Bragg, to support our men and women in blue, to make sure that we're providing all the tools and resources we need to make sure law-abiding New Yorkers are in charge of the streets instead of criminals. But instead, she's trying to say that this is all just a conspiracy, that we're data deniers, even though, by the way, all different kinds of major crime categories are up. She's trying to spin here. We've been down this road before. In the 1980s, elected officials said it was a perception, there's nothing to see here, look away. Kathy Hochul's trying this again in 2022, and voters of all walks of life, Republicans, Democrats, and Independents, they've had enough. They don't want to be gaslit. They don't want to look away. What they want is boldness and courage from their elected officials to actually make the streets and the subways safe again.
Congressman, I know there are a lot of Democrats that live in Manhattan, and that's probably, I don't know what percentage you have to get. I heard 30-some-odd% of New Yorkers are people who live in Manhattan in order to win this, because you're doing well out on Long Island, definitely Staten Island, upstate New York, where we have more conservatives. What do you say to the people who haven't gone to the polls yet or planning on going out to vote this morning here in New York City that normally vote for a Democrat?
Well, we have to work together to be able to save the Big Apple, to save the state. If you're concerned about congestion pricing, affordability of life in New York, if you believe that balance should be restored to Albany, maybe you're a Democrat who feels like the party has gone too far left. Right now, Kathy Hochul isn't up for the job. She's funded her campaign through rampant pay-to-play corruption to sell out access to her office. And as you just played in that last clip, she's trying to avoid the issues that actually matter most to New Yorkers. So for that New Yorker out there who's hitting their breaking point in this state, maybe they have other members of their family who have already hit their breaking point and fled, this is our opportunity. The state is heading in the wrong direction, leading the whole country in out-migration. We cannot continue with more of the same. That's why I'm in this race to do my part to save our state. Kathy Hochul right now is in this race to save Kathy Hochul. The contrast couldn't be any starker. We need everyone to get out in the polls. We have an opportunity to be able to restore New York to glory. But if you're a proud American, that means that it is your duty, your obligation, your responsibility to vote before the polls close.
Yeah, Bill Clinton was supposed to help with the message on crime, and he made a joke saying, is Kathy Hochul handing out billy clubs and bats on the way to the subway? Where the next day, 2 subway attacks. A 44-year-old was stabbed in the neck, and a 54-year-old was stabbed in the arm, which he tried to stop a woman from being assaulted. So that is just happening, and I think for some reason, they're making a cottage industry of ignoring crime. Meanwhile, their big message, a lot of people don't agree with, but I want to get your take. Here is Joe Biden on his closing argument.
You think about this new Republican Party. This is not your father's Republican Party. These are the MAGA Republicans, the Trump Republicans.
It's not your family's
They went on to say
Democratic Party
democracy is on the
either.
ballot. What would you say to people, because they know you're a supporter of Donald Trump, what do you say to people who say that you're an extreme MAGA party member?
Well, I think it's extreme that you just referenced that there's 2 different people who were stabbed. I think it's extreme when people are getting thrown in front of oncoming subway cars. It's extreme. Listen, where I live, there was a gang drive-by shooting at my own house just a few weeks back. The stories from across the state aren't just inside of New York City, where there are all sorts of different categories of rising crime. Or even Kathy Hochul, she goes on another network just a couple days ago, and the host, she probably thought that this was going to be a softball layup. It couldn't be an easier interview. The host cuts her off and says, listen, I don't feel safe inside of New York City. When I go to the pharmacy, everything is packed up. She's not riding the subway. No one wants to be told that we should just look away here. And as far as what Bill Clinton said, and he used to be the closer, to think that this is supposed to be just laughed off, like this is some big joke, that people are concerned about rising crime, just proves how unfit and unready these individuals are right now to actually address these issues. Eric Adams, the mayor of New York City, is a Democrat. I'm a Republican. I look forward to writing a story in January of 2023 about how well a Governor Zeldin is working with a Mayor Adams to save New York City. That means overhauling cashless bail. That means amending raise the age. I will declare a crime emergency on day one and suspend cashless bail, less is more, raise the age, halt act and the discovery law changes, and force the state legislature to come to the table. On day one, I'm going to tell the Manhattan District Attorney Alvin Bragg that he is being removed for his refusal to enforce the law. That's what New Yorkers want. They don't want to be told to look away, and they also don't think any of this is a joke.
The closing argument for Lee Zeldin. Congressman, thank you very much.
Thank
Good luck.
you. We wish you all the best.
Thank you all.